Hi, Matt. Thanks,
Hello.
thanks for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to you about like your work and things. I wanted to just kind of capture what we do together and how it's helped you with your work. So, if you'll start by just telling me what it is that you do and what type of projects do you work on?
Yeah, I'm Matt Goad, and I'm an artist and designer, and those two things they're kind of different, but they also there's a blurry line in between them. So they kind of I don't quite know sometimes which I'm doing at any particular time, but I do art and I do design. I do know that. Um, And the type of projects I used to do exclusively graphic design, and I
Okay.
did that for a few agencies, kind of on a higher level as far as big campaigns and things, and teams of designers and web developers and things. But about 10 years ago, I went and started my own studio, and with the intention of not only giving my clients, the graphic design clients, a little bit more personal service, but also being able to pick projects more of what I want to work on.
Yeah.
And my big goal of becoming more of an artist. And the goal with that ultimately was to start getting into public art and then start creating paintings and things that people would buy and maybe even hang in a gallery, you know. So those
Yeah.
were like kind of big overarching goals. And I'm
Yeah.
proud to say I'm doing that now. So,
Yeah, you are. I was gonna say public projects. Can you tell me about a public project you've done?
well, the biggest one that everyone knows me for is the Oklahoma City Airport, which was called Will Rogers World Airport then. They've changed the name to something international now. But in 2019, I was selected to from 35 international entrants to design the terrazzo floor experience in a roughly $90 million expansion that they were adding onto the airport. And it's now fully functional, and it also included not only it's 44,000 square feet of terrazzo flooring with artwork,
Right.
but also a an observation deck on the mezzanine once you're in the kind of main atrium, and that is a glass curtain wall, and that has etched glass around it. So that I designed all of that, and that got a pretty good significant amount of press. OETA, the local PBS affiliate, did a Gallery America little mini documentary on me, and I was in a lot of magazines and social media, and so my private commissions started going up. And then that led to other things. I ended up doing the Nashville airport, which I couldn't have gotten without the Oklahoma City one. So, and then a few other public art projects have happened.
That's awesome. Those sounds like great projects. What type of projects are you working on now?
Well, as far as I have a couple of key graphic design clients that I kind of manage, and they keep me on a retainer, and we work daily on things here and there, and I have a couple of assistants that help me with those. For the public art stuff, which is kind of what I think people know me more for now. I'm working on a project with Stan Carroll. He was the lead designer for the Skydance Bridge. If anyone in Oklahoma City knows what that is,
Yeah.
I'm working on a sculpture at the zoo for their new penguin exhibit going in, and that's a big project we've been on for now about 2 years. And
Wow.
there's been a lot of budgetary challenges and other things that have turned what we thought would be 6 months into where we're at now. But that's such as that goes in this world. So
Right.
you never know.
Yeah. What type of like structure do you prefer when you're with your work? Because you work on different types of projects. Is it like more of like hard deadlines? Are they flexible? How does that work?
I think it's everything under the sun, from hard deadlines to flexible. My challenge is when they're flexible or when they're ambiguous. Uh, I don't get them done. So if I have hard deadlines, I tend to I meet those, and I will meet them one way or the other. So that's real important, and
Yeah.
it's tough when you're just by yourself. Creatives know this,
Yeah.
and not maybe not all. I've met many creatives that are very organized, but I'm scattered. And when I think about my workload, I think about everything I have going at once, and it
Yeah.
becomes overwhelming, and it's like almost something I don't want to think about. So I'll distract myself and do something that's not productive, possibly, or you know, so as far as like the way I like to organize, I think the best way is to set deadlines,
Mhm.
and the key is to focus on one thing at a time,
Yeah.
and that's what's great about, you and what you've helped me with is to help go, okay, let's set this time out to do this task.
Right.
And I don't think about anything else when I'm in the middle of that right then and there.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's actually called body doubling, and it's really really effective for getting those mundane tasks done when your brain is trying to escape to go all of the other places with projects that you have. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So tell me, before we started working together, like what did task or project management look like for you?
Oh, sticky notes.
Freaking,
Lots of sticky notes. I would set alerts in my calendar. I didn't know about Google Tasks at all.
yeah,
Um, and I would just let those projects, and oftentimes I get commissions, art commissions, that almost all of the time, not all the time, but almost all the time, the client or patron will say, "Hey, take as much time as you want on this." Well, that's kind of the worst thing to say to me, because I will then put it, because there's always something that comes in every day or that has to happen. So the next thing you know, it's been a year, and I have many, and fortunately, I've had some really sweet people I've done commissions for that have been very understanding. All of them have been, but I don't feel good about it when a takes that long.
yeah, for
So
sure. I bet that feels hard to keep track of and also stay motivated. Tell me how switching from sticky notes to Google Tasks, for example, has helped better to keep track of everything that you have going on in your brain.
well, the sticky note, obviously, I get lost, or I would basically ignore it. The Google Tasks alert you. The way
Yeah,
we've set it up, I get alerts, and every morning I have an alert of what I need to do that day. And I've not always been great at hitting every benchmark or goal or task, but I am getting better at it. And I've learned, and this is a lot of working with you, and even my partner Stan, that you've got to make these deadlines, and you've got to keep them, or else. And if you're not going to make it, you know, whatever the reason is, you've got to figure out a way to make it. Even if the quality is maybe not quite where you want it, you've got to come through with these. I
yeah,
think the quality, you'll get back to that at some point if you're working on a big project.
right,
But it's imperative to make these. Otherwise, nothing works.
right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's something that surprised you about this process since we've been working together for the past few months?
Well, I asked you to help me based on this need to get these projects done, because I noticed there were just so many that were falling through the cracks and becoming albatross projects, and I needed to repair that, and I wanted to be more successful, and ultimately serve my clients and patrons better.
Yeah,
So the one of the biggest things that surprised me is you've been not only a project manager, but you've also been like almost a business therapist in a way, in that, you know, I'll present problems. Maybe it's a client personality that I've got to kind of read into, because a lot of design is psychology. You've got to
Yeah.
understand the client, what they respond to, what their values are, what they're into, and then work with them in that world. You know, it's not that is a difference between design and art. It's not like, well, this is me and this is my thing, you better like it. In design, you know, you've got to really, you know, you've got to create something that represents their values and their business goals and all. So so a lot of times that's challenging, and in talking with you, you've helped me, I guess, understand and put into place where certain things can go.
Mhm.
And one thing I would often do if there is a challenge is bury my head in the sand like an ostrich and move on to the other 35 projects I have to do.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, it's been a couple months and you've been really good at, like, let's set a task to talk to the client.
Mm.
And almost every time I've done that, I leave that conversation with a solution.
Yeah.
So whatever that crazy thing I had going on, I now have a solution, and the client's caught up. Even though it may have been waiting, they now are on board with you, and they know that they're in the mix of your world, and so that's been something that, you know, has been really surprising, and I'm very grateful for, almost more than anything. So.
That's awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. As a solopreneur, it's really important to have others to talk to in this journey. And so problem solving is a big part of project management. It's either being held up by someone or something or a conversation that needs to be had. So that's awesome. Well, um, I think you answered my next two questions. If there's another artist or creative or solopreneur, business owner, whomever, who's struggling with, project overwhelm, the things that you've discussed, what would you tell them about this kind of support?
Well, I think the big thing, if you feel overwhelmed, I'm gonna guess that you're thinking of everything you have going on, because that's me, and I know my brain is that way. And it's a very, the creative world, the creative business world, it's a weird deal because it's a lot of emotion and feelings, and that doesn't always align with a rigid business
Right.
plan, business structure.
Yeah.
So feelings, and they're important, you know, and they're imperative to design. But you know, I would say that this helps create a focus. It helps you focus on what needs to happen here this morning or today, and everything else can be just behind you. Don't even think about it. Let's work on this. And taking those little bite-sized pieces out of your workload makes the difference in the
Yeah.
world, all the difference in the world, you know. How do you eat a train, one piece, one bite at a time or something? It's like
Yeah.
you do that and you will make headway and you'll get through what you need to get done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. I like that because, I found, Matt, that a creative or business owner may know they need this type of support, but they don't either know what to call it or where to find it. How did you find out about me?
I reached out to my assistant, Christopher Lee. He's a really brilliant designer, and he got your name from someone. I don't know. I don't know if it's
Andrea. I think it was Andrea, my another client.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he might have seen you speak somewhere. I'm not sure, but
Did
he
you
recommended
ask for
you.
a project manager?
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, I just said I think I need help with project management. So before COVID, I had another assistant and she was pretty helpful. And we all worked together in the studio, and I had different workstations. I had a different studio. This one I built in my backyard since COVID, but then it was a little more structured in that we would, you know, Monday we'd have our meeting and we go through our list, and then I was still sticky notes basically, but it was a little bit more organized, and I had someone else there going, okay, we got to do this today. So, um, yeah, that was before
COVID.
COVID. Then when COVID happened, I just was in my own little world, and you get stuck in your vacuum of chaos, mental
Right.
chaos, and all these projects, and you can't see the forest for the trees, you know?
Yeah,
So clarity, focus, and one thing at a time, you
I
know?
love that. Those are really good things to end off on with. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for all you've done to help me. I know I'm a challenge. And it is a challenge every day. It's not like my problems are solved, but I do feel that things are a lot more in line with getting things accomplished. And when I have a day where I checked off that last task, it's just a great feeling. It's almost like now you can go chill and watch some Netflix or do, well, in my case, go do more art.
I love that. Yeah, because you're like making music and doing other types,
Yeah, I'm always doing something.
always
So
doing something. Well, that's the life of a creative, Matt. So,
yeah, so for
yeah.
good, for bad, I guess.
Well, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Where can people find out about you, Matt?
You can go to my website, mattgoad.com, Mattgoad, or Matt Goad Art is my Instagram at Matt Goad Art, and I try to post mainly art stuff I'm doing, and then in my stories I'll post my dog and stuff I'm eating. So, you know,
Balance.
yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much, Matt, for your time today.